What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com. My name is Sean Sheehan, and today we are back with another edition of the betting show as a very busy week in the mixed martial arts world goes down, as we have a PFL, we have a Bellator, and we have a UFC event over the next few days, and it's very interesting. A lot of those fights, even so much so that I've given you an extra bet or two for this week. So we usually have the 5 bets. This week we have the 7 bets, if that's correct. 1, 2, 3, 7 bets. So there we go. I'm really looking forward to these fights. Obviously, when Bellator comes back to Dublin, it's always exciting. When PFL has one of their regular season shows, it's always exciting. And the UFC, obviously going to Saudi Arabia, there's been a lot of talk about, a lot of criticism over the last while for, the sports gone on there, and rightly so. But, we know what happens when they go there and they try to bring, whether it's boxing or the UFC or soccer or whatever, they try to bring the best of the best there. And that not necessarily is the case here, but in terms of fight night cards, it probably is. So we'll get into all of that here on the betting show today. First off, let's look back at last week, and we had a very good week last week. As you know by the main event for next week, our flyer didn't even happen last week because Ali Askarov was taken off the card. So it's probably the best flyer I've had in months. So we'll take it. And then the other 4 bets, we hit 3 out of 4. So they were pretty good. The Liz Carmouche, we got lucky, very lucky on 2 of the winners. We got a little bit unlucky in our loser, but we'll go through them here for a second. Carmouche minus 250 now. She got 2 rounds down, got a submission in the last 10 seconds. We'll take those bets, those winning bets every single week. We'll take them anytime we can get them, and we'll definitely take this one here. So, I didn't see that coming, to be honest, but look, Liz pulls it through. Tatsuya Tira, whose name I can't pronounce, apparently, I was told this week. He won, again, a little bit lucky. Would he have gone in to win anyway? I think he probably would have, but, we got lucky again with that one. The injury, obviously, but he kind of caused it as well, so not too lucky. And then we had the winning parlay we had of minus 148 was the Chiva, Santos and Velasquez, so they all won, and all won pretty well. Santos didn't win that comfortably, but won comfortably enough. The losing bet then we had was the double of Moldavsky and Goltsov. Moldavsky ended up going through to the next round. His opponent got eliminated, but he lost the fight, so Linda Vassell won that, and it makes bad on our parlay. Dennis Goltsov won pretty handily against who's fighting? Thiago Santos. So there you go. So that's 3 out of 4 with 0 out of 0 from the Flyers. Overall, 47 of 91 and only 2 Flyers this year, which is not great. Not great at all. But we're over the 50% in terms of the normal bets for the year, and I will take that. That was my aim, and we're hitting that. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but it was my aim anyway, and we're hitting that. So let's get to next week and have a look at some of these bets. So I'm gonna kind of hit you with the least. Actually, I don't know. I don't really have it. No, I do. I kind of have 3 non-sexy bets and then more sexier bets after that. So we'll hit you with the non-sexy ones first. But my second bet of the week is here's a prediction. This is the best bet I've ever given out, and it's almost even money bet, but this should not be that at all. Do you know what? I'll go at it first. Let's go at this first. First bet of the week, Sarah Collins, minus 163. This, to me, is a ludicrous price. And I think it's one of those ones that, right, you do like me, right? And you listen to the show over and over, and you listen to me talking about Bellator non-stop and PFL non-stop, and you learn about all these fighters and you watch them over and over and over again, and then all that pays off because you get a price like this. Now, if you see this price what did I say? Minus 163. If this still exists and you're thinking about betting it right now, because this will not last. This, I don't know, was this some sort of mistake or something? I looked, and actually I have a third place I can look up to see if this is the same price in that place. I saw it in two places and it was minus 163, and I was like, have you made some sort of mistake here? But yeah, to me, this is a crazy price. And yeah, I'm actually looking on Fight.io, and where is this here? Bet Online, they call it. She's actually minus 160 there. Minus 155 with DraftKings. Crazy price, in my opinion. So Sarah Collins, 5-0. I watched her live against Sinead Kavanagh last time out. I watched her against Pam Sorensen before that. And I watched as many of her undercard fights as I could find. Her fights before that. She's very good on the ground. She can fight on the feet. She's a good athlete. She's not undersized for the division or anything like that. A very, very good fighter. Elena Kaleshnik, on the other hand, she's an okay fighter. She's lost to Larissa Pacheco 3 times. She lost to Pam Sorensen, who Sarah Collins beat, and this was in 2017 when Pam Sorensen was probably closer to her prime. She has a win over Aspen Ladd, a majority decision, a close enough decision. That's probably her best win, and she beat Abigail Montez as well, whose best win is against a boxer. She's a good judoka. She can hit relatively hard. She can ground and pound you if she gets on top. She's very good at ground and pounding people out, but she hasn't stopped anyone in her career since 2017, before she got to Invicta, before she got to the PFL. Sarah Collins is probably the best up-and-comer in the world in that division. Honestly, there's some prices I see them and I'm like, oh, that's just a bit off. Or this is off by... I was expecting Sarah Collins to be minus 500, minus 600. The fact she's minus 155 in one place is, I'll tell you what, I've been doing this show now since, how long? Coming up on, is it 3 years? I don't know. 2 years at least anyway. And this is the best bet you will get. This is the best price you will get. I don't often go out and say this, please bet responsibly and all this, but this is Sarah Collins is definitely going to win this fight. 100% going to win this fight. And she's minus 163. Holy moly. Yeah. Betting it. Bet responsibly, but betting it. I'd be very surprised if she doesn't win this. I'd be interested to see what the there's no prices out yet for the prop bets or anything like that. I'd be interested to see maybe her inside the distance. Kaleshnik is tough, there's no doubt about it, but she's, for 6 losses, she's been finished 5 times. And I wouldn't at all be surprised if Sarah Collins took her down and finished her as well. So yeah, that's bet number 1 of the week. Bet number 1 of the year is Sarah Collins over Kaleshnik in that one. And that's at, if you're looking for it, that's in Dublin at the Bellator show. Right, let's move along to the next bet, and this is bet number 2 from the PFL show in, where is it on? I did a preview for it. The Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City. And I'm going for Sadibou Sy to win this one over Tom Breeze, and he's minus 200, and that seems to be the price along the board for Sy in this one. I just think it's a bad enough matchup for Tom Breeze, and the way he fought the last time would suggest that he's maybe not in a place to be competing against guys like Sadibou Sy, like he went in there against Wilkinson and was taken out pretty quickly and pretty comprehensively. Now, people probably look at the Sadibou Sy one, and he was finished in the same time, but that was a finger injury, off a takedown where he broke his finger and shattered it and things. Now, look, he's a finger injury coming in. Maybe, is it healed properly? Has he been able to train properly? I think he'll be fine. And I just think, Tom Breeze at his very, very, very best, against Sadibou Sy at his very, very, very best, I would not be giving this bet at this price whatsoever, right? Tom Breeze, a really good competitor, high level on the ground, high level on the feet, can do it all. But we know, like, Tom Breeze had real issues kind of getting up for fights and getting to fights and mentally preparing for fights. Now, he went out and he kind of went to KSW and fought in the European scene, and he was fine for a while. But it seems to be on the big stage. It's just very, very hard for him to get up for that. Now, having said that as well, as I alluded to a second ago, him and C are pretty well matched up. You know, they're both very tall. They both can fight everywhere. I just think C is way more used to fighting in the PFL. He's a champion. He'll need to win this fight to get back. I think as well he's very good at kind of, let's say if Breeze was to come out here and fight pretty well, C is very good at eliminating what you're good at and being very defensive and taking away. Like Breeze likes to come forward, likes to throw that left hand. If he can control the fight, he's very good at doing it. We see it less and less from him, I feel. And I think that control will be taken away by Sadibou Sy. I think that's what he is. The best part of his game is his ability to control. And I think that would be a major problem from Breeze, because if that happens, C catches him a couple of times, the confidence goes a little bit, a takedown comes from C, I think it could be big trouble for him. So, overall, I think it's not the easiest pick. I'm basing this mostly on the last performance from Tom Breeze. I know C has lost a couple in a row, as I said, one injury, and the other one was against Magomed Karamov. Look, one of the best fighters in the world. Can't read too much into that. But I as I said, I looked at the price and I looked at it again, and it was it was one of those where you kind of convince yourself, it's like, yeah, he probably is going to win, and if you can get that price, it's not a bad one at all. So we'll go with that. Okay. Next bet we are going for here is Norbert Novenyi Jr. and he's minus 115 to win his fight over Dalton Rasta. Again, another one. I looked at the prices, I saw it, and I was like, yeah, that's the price on that one. I think you look at this matchup and you wonder where it will be lost for either guy, right? So where could this fight be lost for Rasta? If the fight stands up and Novenyi gets to use his striking, and if Novenyi can fight from the outside and throw his kicks and do all of that stuff, that's where Rasta loses the fight. At the first place, okay, there could be multiple places, but the first, most obvious place, right? Where's the most obvious place Novenyi Jr. is going to lose this fight? There really isn't one. Now, if you're to pick it out, based on Novenyi Jr., that is. Now, if you're to look at Rasta versus Novenyi Jr., you could say, okay, Rasta has very good wrestling. Could he wrestle Novenyi Jr.? But Norbert Novenyi Jr.'s wrestling is phenomenal. Like, his father, Olympic gold medalist wrestler. He has that backing, and he went over to London and shoot. Has become a very good striker. Like, I think if Dalton Rasta thinks he's going to dominate Norbert Novenyi Jr. in the wrestling, I think he could have a massive comeuppance here. We heard Daniel Cormier talking about Novenyi Jr. going to AKA and causing fits for people over there, wrestling them around the room. Oh, there's this striker from London Shoe Fighters coming over, and he's wrestling people this under. Norbert Novenyi Jr. is one of those guys that he doesn't have any weaknesses apart from being young in the game, and apart from learning how to put all this unbelievable stuff he has together. I think that can only get better the more fights he has. It can only get better the levels he rises. Now, look, Rasta has a good overhand. There's no doubt about it. He's power in it, and he has very good wrestling. So he always has the possibility, Novenyi was to get tired or something like that. Absolutely. You never know how Novenyi's wrestling is going to hold up with his new style. Not necessarily his new style, but with his style against someone like Rasta. You never know. Maybe MMA is at the coal face is a lot tougher than in training and preparing or even than wrestling, right? So maybe, but I don't think so. I'm only playing devil's advocate there. Yeah, I think it's going to cause big issues for Rasta the way Novenyi fights, and I think that minus 115 is going to look very good afterwards. So that is the next bet for the week. We will go next in, and I'm going to go maybe a little bit of Irish bias here, but I'm going to go for Sinead Kavanagh at plus 130 to win her fight over Arlene Blincoe. Now, they fought before. I went back and watched the fight, and it's a very interesting fight. Like, it could have gone either way. Sinead Kavanagh kind of, I think Blincoe would even admit it herself that Sinead dominated where the fight took place. It was just that, especially in the first round, Blincoe did a great job of winning the fight from where Sinead made the fight happen, if you want to put it that way. Sinead was fighting off the back foot. Usually she's very good at there doesn't take much, but Blincoe was able to close the distance better than most people and win that first round or get close to it anyway. In the second round, if memory serves me correctly, Sinead started to go forward a little bit, and that suited Sinead. And the third round was kind of close again. I think the major advantage there is that Sinead Kavanagh is able to dominate where the fight takes place. And she now has a fight behind her to look back on and go, here, if I keep this fight in this place for the whole fight or for multiple parts of the fight, or I've good cornering to tell me where to go next, I can win this fight. And that's my main reason for picking this. I don't think both have deteriorated since this at any massive rate. They're both kind of getting on. Our Blincoe is a little bit older. She went 5 rounds with Cyborg. Sinead Kavanagh got knocked out by Cyborg pretty quickly, but I don't think I think it's a very similar fight to the first one. You're in Ireland, you have the crowd behind you. Sinead, the last time she fought in Ireland, she put on, or what was it the last time? Maybe 2 fights ago. But her fight against Liam McGuire, she put on a phenomenal display that night of heart and grit, and a very tough fight for both of them, a very tough fight for everyone watching as well. But I think Sinead is just going to have enough here. I think if she goes on the front foot and lands her shots early and wins that first round, I think it's a lot. And this is it just came to me, but it's a lot easier to adjust from a front foot fighter after winning the first round to a back foot fighter trying to win the second round than vice versa. And she actually did vice versa successfully the first time round. But I think, if she goes out and attacks first round, wins that first round, and goes out and attacks again in the second round, and let's say is winning, but the tide turns a little bit, I think it's easier to switch to be a more defensive fighter and maybe, just nip that round and then, see what happens in the third. And I feel this fight's going to be close. This fight's going to be a decision. It's going to be very, very, very close. But I like the price on Sinead. I think it probably should be an even money fight. Maybe with Sinead a little bit of a favourite, looking back on what happened in that first fight. I'm going to go for Sinead at plus 130 in that one. Right, one more bet from PFL, and this one's from the PFL, and then we have 2 bets from the UFC. So I'm going to give you a parlay from PFL, and it's a minus 134 parlay, a double, just 2 people. Impa Kasanganay minus 375 and Robert Wilkinson plus 265. I think they both have very favourable matchups. Now, an interesting thing about it is look, we got Robert Wilkinson first against Joshua Silveira. Joshua's been one of the top up-and-coming prospects in the PFL for a couple of years, and he's looked very, very, very good. There's no doubt about that. But I just think Robert Wilkinson's a horrible matchup for him. He can wrestle himself. He's good takedown defense, very good boxing, and just a very good, well-rounded fighter. I think he's faster, having fought down the weights, than Silveira, who is a little bit cumbersome, but very good with his wrestling and very good with his jiu-jitsu. But I just don't think he'll be able to catch Robert Wilkinson enough to make that work. And if that can't work, Silveira's not winning this fight. It's a pretty simplistic breakdown for me, but I think that's all you need to know, really. I think Rob Wilkinson is going to be a better striker. He's going to pick him off. He's going to land shots. And I think if Silveira can't get him down for long periods of this fight, which I don't think he will, I think Wilkinson will probably end up finishing him. So there's that one. And Kasanganay against Jacob Ndai. Very, very tough on Jacob. Like, he was in the finale of the European circuit last year, won that. Comes in here, tough enough fight against Yashimordov, loses that. And now they're putting him in against Impa Kasanganay, the champion from last year. It's about as tough a road as you can get. Like, I think Ndai is the type of guy who, you know, could probably do it 5 or 6 more fights before he fights someone like Impa Kasanganay. I just think, like, what he's very good at being aggressive and hitting hard and putting shots on his opponent, whereas Kasanganay is very much, you know, he's very much smart to that now. I always refer back to that, is it Carlson Harris fight? Carlson Harris fighting a few weeks ago. I watched it back and I was like, how did Kasanganay lose that fight? And I think it's a fight he'd never lose again, you know, that type of fight. And I think Ndai's a far better fighter than Carlson Harris, but he will be a more aggressive fighter than most of the people that fight Kasanganay, similar to what Harris was. And I think, as I said again, I think Kasanganay is very clued into that type of game plan now, and I think he knows the ways around it. And I think that's the biggest obstacle here. I think he'll land these shots. He'll do his wrestling. He'll do what he needs to do. Like, Kasanganay, probably one of the most underrated guys in the world at the moment, very close to beating Johnny Eblen, who, you know, a lot of people think might be the best middleweight in the world. So Kasanganay has gone from, you know, spectacular to being knocked out in the UFC to just going to that next level and becoming a top fighter in the PFL. And I think Ndai will cause him some problems, but I think Kasanganay will get through them. So that is that's the next bet of the week. Then we go over to the UFC, and I'm going for Sergei Pavlovich to win via TKO KO at -137. I looked at a few of the bets here, and I was going to go at him as a flyer and look for like a first round or something, but I think this was the best price I could get. You look at Volkov, and I suppose the only drawback from that is he's only been knocked out twice in his career. And, you know, once was to Derek Lewis in that last second one, and then once was years and years ago, who was Vitaly Minikov back in Bellator. So, you know, he's not a guy who often catches shots like that, but I just have a feeling at, you know, 35 years of age, it's not that old for a heavyweight. I just have a feeling that Pavlovich will come in here as a guy 32 years of age, even younger as a heavyweight, after being finished by Aspinall, after nearly hitting him, and want to make a serious statement. You know, he knocked out everyone before that: Blades, Tuivasa, Lewis, Shami, Maurice Green, and that Green fight, a good one as well, to look and kind of say, the taller, bigger guys, he can fight them. He's used to fighting them. You know, that only went a couple of minutes, but still he was in there with a tall guy like that, knows how to break him down. Volkov a lot tougher to break down, don't get me wrong, but I just have a feeling that Volkov might have gotten a little bit of confidence out of the Pavlovich fight, but I actually think Pavlovich will have gone to another level after that. And that's a weird thing to say, because I don't think necessarily he was as good as people made him out to be before the Aspinall fight or even before the Blades fight. But I just have a feeling that a guy like Pavlovich might actually, after a loss like that, be more suited to a technical matchup against Volkov, where he has to break down. And when I say technical matchup, I mean a technical matchup for Volkov, where he has to break that down and land the one big shot inside. Like Volkov, okay, he can hit hard himself, but he's not the biggest knockout artist in the world. He has 24 knockouts in his career, don't get me wrong, but, you know, not against the top of the top guys. Like, he didn't knock out Aspinall, didn't knock out Tabora, didn't knock out Gann. He did knock out Alistair Overeem, in fairness, but he didn't knock out Blades, or Derek Lewis even. So there is that. I think Pavlovich will get to him. I think it's 5 rounds? 3 rounds. I think it's enough. I think he'll get to him, and I think he'll knock him out at minus 137. Pavlovich's hands are just, he almost knocked out Aspinall. Let's not forget that. His hands are legit, and I think that will be how that one goes. And then the flyer of the week, I'm going for Johnny Walker, first round knockout plus 525. Again, love this bet. I think when you put Johnny Walker in there, chaos can happen. I think when you put Volkan Ozdemir in there, chaos can happen, and someone's getting knocked out. I just have a feeling that Ozdemir, who, he went in there against Guskov last time out and he finished him, but he submitted him, hasn't got a knockout himself since 2019 when he beat Ilir Latifi, and before that it was the famous Jimmy Manuwa one back in 2017. I have a feeling that Walker is going to come out. He's going to jab him up a little bit. He's going to realize that he can kind of win this fight in a more technical way against Ozdemir, and then I think he's going to land a big shot. I just have a feeling. Johnny Walker hasn't been knocking people out that much either. No, he did knock out Paul Craig in 2023, absolutely, and we know what he can do on the feet, and I think Ozdemir is the perfect guy to showcase that. I think the biggest problem I've had with Johnny Walker over the last while is his inability to maybe open up a little bit, and I think that might be a big thing coming in here. Like, don't leave it too long. Don't, be natural. Go out and throw your shots. Throw your jab hard. Hurt him with it. Throw the backhand hard. Hurt him with it. And I think if Johnny Walker does that, there are many fighters better in the world at doing what he does. There really, really aren't. So, yeah, I think the first round part I was looking at is because of that. I think he needs to open up a little bit. No, not fucking second one, not throw a flying knee out together, and although maybe you'd never know. But like, get the jab going, hurt him with it, hit him with it, and then open up. And I like that price. Plus 525 for your guy Johnny Walker there. Right, let's take a look through some of the other prices here, and hopefully I can open it up as I can here. Right, PFL first. And the main event there. Do you know what? If you're giving me those prices, best price around minus 300 for Clay Collard, around plus 250 for Burnell. I'm taking Burnell all day long at those prices. I do fancy Collard to win, but I would not at all take him. Oh, that is minus 295, minus 300. No way. No way. Kasanganay and Doe, we spoke about that one. Miranda Ferreira, I was really looking at this. Patricky, both around even money. Patricky caught me out the last time. I'm going to avoid it. I would lean Miranda. Especially if you get him at even money maybe, but not really. I think Wilkinson is a straight up bet. If you can get him at minus 265, I take him at that. Yashimurdov, again, another guy I avoided. He blows hot and cold at times, and Bion can absolutely knock you out. So at plus 285, not a bad price, but I do think Yashimurdov will win. I also think Antonio Carlos Jr. will win at that price. I originally had Brent Primus in as one of my bets at minus 180. But Renfro is the type of guy who could keep me up at night. He's a good fighter. I just think Primus is a little bit, he's sneaky, and I think he's good in tournaments, and I think he'll win that. We spoke obviously about Breeze and see again Razabov and Espinoza undefeated, upwards of plus 200 for a guy who's undefeated. Now Razabov is probably a better fighter, but I wouldn't look past that. I'd probably still take Razabov. Piccolotti, Dufort, interesting. I'm surprised this was as close as it is. Dufort minus 180. I'd be going for him at that. These prices minus 225 are more like. And then the only other one I'd look at there is Albrechtsen and Sanchez. I don't know if Albrechtsen is what he used to be. If you can get Sanchez plus 180, I might go for that, to be honest. Then the UFC, Askarov and Whitaker is the one I suppose we haven't talked about. Whitaker is the favorite. Short notice for both of them, I suppose. Askarov was supposed to fight last week, so not the biggest deal in the world. I think they just got the price about right. I think Whitaker should win just about. So I think they got that right. We spoke about Pavlovich and Volkov. I like Gastelum to win this fight against Rodriguez. And I think that price is just about right as well, minus 245, but maybe wouldn't bet on it. The straight up price as well. I love Johnny Walker's straight up price there. Even if you don't think he'll get the knockout, I do think he'll win the fight. I think that's a great price, almost even money there, minus 110. I think Jelton Leatherback has almost no chance against Sharon Magomedov. I think he'll win that. Like that price, minus 240, best price like that. I like Hakparast, not sure the price now, minus 230. You never know. Nicholas Albi, one of the best underdogs. I think Fakhridinov should have enough to win that, but I wouldn't be backing him at that price. I like Gufarov at that price. And what else is on this card? I like Naimov. I think he has a new opponent, though, does he? He might do, so we'll move on from that. Then finally the Bellator card. I never touched the main event. Jason Jackson against Kuran Magomedov. Interest and prices there, minus 160-ish for Kuran Magomedov. Jason Jackson above the minus 200. God. At those prices, you know what? It's like, if it was minus 150 in Jason Jackson, yes. And I'm picking Jason Jackson to win, but those are the side of prices I look at and I avoid. So no. Paul Hughes and Bobby King, I'll tell you what, this minus 750, I wouldn't take that in a million years. I think Paul Hughes will win. I think Paul Hughes should be around minus 400. I think Bobby King is a good fighter, and he has the possibility to win. I would give Paul Hughes the favoritism tag hugely, but not as big as minus 750. I think that's blown it away. We talked about the Sinead Kavanagh fight, obviously. We talked about Norbert Novenyi. Tarek Kelly's a massive favorite as well. Watched a bit of his opponent, as much as I could find, which wasn't much. And when you see a highlight, you're going to see the good things. But he can hit hard. I would fancy Tarek Kelly though there. I like Kusumov. That price, I think that's a good price. He looks like a real top talent. I like Simone Powell as well, but no price there. What else? Nathan Kelly is also a massive price there. So that have we anything else? There's LFA. Is that this weekend? What weekend are we? June 22nd? Oh, it is. Let's see if there's anything on that stands out. Dante Shiro, he was on a recent Bellator card. He's not a bad fighter, minus 225. So, yeah, there you go. That's those are the odds from the weekend, and those are my picks. So just to go over, Collins minus 163, C minus 200, minus 115 for Novenyi Jr, plus 130 for Sinead Kavanagh. Then we have minus 134 double of Kasanganay and Wilkinson, minus 137 for Pavlovich to get the knockout, and then Walker, knockout in round one, has the Flier at plus 525 indeed. All right, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. We leave it there. Bet responsibly. My name is Sheehan for Sherdog.com, and I'll see you all next time.